fellow creatures of the internet. This is my small C and subscribe to Argonian here on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius. Is it just me, or is there other furries besides me are wondering, what if there is a game where you can play as poppy furs and all that kind of stuff, whether it's, of course, your favorite Argonian here, or telephone, or whoever, and what genre of game that you would want to play as them in. Maybe it's a fighting game perhaps. So that is why that I decided to do a video on the real life furries who I think would be best in a roster of a furry fighting game. Now to be in this, it can be like for any reason. It could be, say for instance, maybe the characters of warrior or have some martial arts background or something like that. Maybe it's something to do with the owner of the character that does a sort of martial arts. Maybe it could be, out of anything. Hell, maybe it could be someone whose persona is also made from a video game like myself. Who knows? So these are some of the furries whose personas, or some of the furries in the fandom that I think that would make the cut in a roster in a furry fighting game. Kicking off with, of course, Bruzo Dragonius, also known as myself. I'm not making this video to plug myself to be in a fighting game or something like that, if there's any. But I just thought it would be a very good idea if you probably would include me in it, if you were making a fighting game, because of the fact being is that I'm a warrior, I'm a dragonborn. Even though that you see me fighting with weapons and all that kind of stuff, most preferably I use either dual wield or mace, two one-handed mace, or probably a mace and shield, or perhaps a two-handed mace, even though that the reason why I use a mace because I sort of have this belief in a sort of a no-kill policy. I only kill when needed. If you think that using weapons would be a bit more legal or something like that, hell, I can fight with unarmed combat. There's a lot of me to choose around. Like I can do some martial arts, fighting moves with my fists and all that kind of stuff. If you want to put me with using dual wielded swords, I am able to do that, even though that I tend to use weapons that's best suited to the situation and environment that I'm in. Same with the armor that I use. I also have draconic powers because not only that I'm an Argonian but also a Dragonborn. One of my moves that I can use, one of my is most notably the fursuit or the unrelenting force. The way that I can teleport, I can pretty much teleport, but my sort of teleporting ways would be the whirlwind sprint. I could pretty much go into berserk mode, which as you can see, with the spikes coming out of my back and all that kind of stuff. And as you see, I have the ability to turn. I now have the ability to turn into a werewolf because I now have lycanthropy, as I can see like in the game. So I think that my movesets would be, because I tend to, like I said, fight to whatever enemy in accordance to my enemy's weakness and the environment as well. So there's a lot of that to choose from. Plus, I can breathe fire as well, as you can see on the game, as in my sort of playthroughs. The rest is, there's some of the fighting moves without continuing on about myself. But the rest of the roster that I choose to be on this list, I don't exactly know all about. So, and this is roughly in accordance to what I would imagine how each characters would have with their moveset or how they fight or whatever. So you're just going to have to bear with me on that one as well. So the second character that isn't mine personally, or not me, that I wanted to add onto the list is another character out of the same lore as me, which is the Khajiit that you would probably know on TikTok. That name is Vice Chambers. Now, with Vice, I heard that he's a demon Khajiit, so I don't know how I'm going to put this thing out exactly with his movesets or something like that. So I could probably would say that his moveset might be similar to mine with all the dual-wielded weapons and all that kind of stuff. Most preferably with the knives and probably with a sword or something like that. I'm not sure if he has any necromancer ability with that, so I don't know if that's. I think that he might have. I'm not quite sure. But if you're watching this video, maybe you might want to help me out on, with your character's abilities and whether your character is a necromancer. Also, I noticed that he does have the ability to turn into a werewolf as well, and he has some sort of magic with him. Also, I know for sure that Khajiits have this sort of martial arts discipline called coup de grace, which is something to do with the sword or something like that. I know to be really good fighters, especially with using their claws or something like that. So they're really good with being unarmed and all that kind of stuff. Even though that, back to myself, maybe that I could probably have a bit of coup de grace that's also to me, for instance, because, I probably know all sorts of martial arts. But as for Vice Chambers, I can pretty much see him using that ability for coup de grace. And I'm not quite sure with the fatality and all that kind of stuff. So moving on from that. The third fighter on this list that I wanted to include is Sonic Fox. Now, I don't know whether or not that I could put Sonic Fox as, with his fighting style, as like the Pokemon trainer from Super Smash Bros. Or, the latest Super Smash Bros. Game. But to be honest with you, I just kind of think that there would be too many copyright issues of him being in the background playing the Switch or the Xbox or the PlayStation 4 or whatever computer or arcade that he uses or something like that, arcade machine. Because I know that he plays various fighting games like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, like Mortal Kombat. He's, the crying out loud, was the esports game of the year last year. So instead, I wanted to include Sonic Fox as a fighter. And with these movesets, I'm going to make it as similar to all the characters that he plays in the fighting games, whether it's been in competition or in his Twitch streams. Even though that I could probably go imaginative on this one, because I don't know what his character is as a main. But let's just put it in, for example, what if he has a similar moves as Goku from Dragon Ball Fighter Z? Now, I can imagine him doing the Kamehameha, which is one of them. I can really imagine him doing the jumps and all that kind of stuff, and all the dodges and all the instant transmissions, or like, you know what I mean. Is it transmission? As his way of the teleporting. I can pretty much imagine him like flying or something like that, probably with all the jump moves, with the higher moves or something like that. Maybe you can just transform into any fighter in the roster, because hell, he's a gamer, so I just probably would put this transformation in. And the way that he transforms is that, like how in old school games where there's like the square, like with the player's face. Well, what if I just incorporate that and just say, if he wants to transform into me, there would be probably my face on, and, it could be somewhere else, and he probably would use the same moves as me or something like that. But if he's not transformed into any other character besides himself, maybe the way that he attacks is, I can see that probably with the Scorpion moves, with the "come over here," or probably Goro, maybe the Hadouken from Street Fighter. The sky's the limit with Sonic Fox. Same as the wrestler on the roster, because it's just my interpretation of it. And if there is my interpretation of it, well, please just take it to a grain of salt. Maybe if you wanted to, make up your own list or what you think, go ahead, it's all up to you. The third member of the roster that I'm just going to put is Sherbet. Now, I know that Sherbet, which is the adorable blue magical creature that I sort of think that's a bunny with horns, would be automatically in this game, even though that there is an anime of him that's coming out sometime late this year or early to mid next year, or maybe late next year. I'm not quite sure. As far as I know, it's TVA. Now, Sherbet, his signature weapon is the hammer that he uses, which is the main fursuit prop that you would see him carry at cons. So I can pretty much imagine that he might just use that as a weapon, with the hammering and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we can just put some martial arts moves even without the hammer. Maybe that seeing that he has an anime that's coming out, I can really see that his moveset would be, I think, the most easiest one to put together that isn't me or isn't their own character. So, in a way, even though that I can see him with the jumping and all that kind of stuff, even in one video he has a katana in his samurai video. So I probably would incorporate that into his moveset, or you can use that as the alternate. Maybe that he has some magical powers that with his hammer. Maybe that he has some magical powers even without it. I don't know for sure because because I haven't seen the anime and neither has anyone else because it's not out yet. But I think that maybe some magical moves or something like that would, like some magic involved in him. I can pretty much see that. And also, that if he flies or has these sort of magical powers that of him flying or probably disappearing into like smoke or something like that, with the way that he teleports and that. So moving on. The fourth member of the roster,
Actually, mean face.
that would be suitable is my martial arts master / dragon master and the former god of the skies, Chen Long. Chen is another easy one that I can come up with the moveset because I know for sure that he does very, very skilled at martial arts. I'm not quite sure about him being, if he just scrolls. If I would probably would incorporate him as being more bigger than the other players. Maybe I can just use that as that he ends up growing in that to, like as tall as I don't know, the Empire State Building or something like that just to eat the opponent. Like, imagine him just growing up and that and then like has one of his picks the opponent up and eats him. Maybe that could be the final fatality. Maybe that I could consider the way that he enters the stage, whether he's just flying up like this, accompanied by a thunderstorm, perhaps, and then just like lands on there, like just pretend that it's like, this is you in the game and this is him. He probably would be like, oh, prepare to have a die, or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Or you dare challenge me? Or are you the one fit? Something like that. How in most games and that, especially in Dragon Ball Z, where the characters end up, entering the stage and they probably would be like, talking to each other like, hey, I want to fight you. And then this one character might just say, for example, oh, bring it on. Maybe you can just like do that, maybe, in this game. Not for Chen Long, not only for Chen Long, but for all the other characters. But focusing on the movesets. Also, maybe that we could, have some mystical dragon powers, like with some key elements to his powers. Maybe one of the moves would be the die. I can pretty much would imagine that he could probably breathe lasers from his mouth or probably from his eyes, and with the die, just imagine with the eyes, or probably breathing fire like Godzilla, like doing his atomic breath, like even though they do breathe fire and that, so maybe but this is just enough about talking about me and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I probably would do that sort of thing maybe. So this is just another thing that I can, put onto his moveset. Even though that's, sorry that I'm not really as clear or something like that. Also, just to shorten up this video, final one is one of my personal friends, Slade Taroshi. You may not know about him, but if you do watch Japanese Circles videos, you might have the slightest clue on what I'm talking about. But The reason why I pick Slade over Zabu the Sergal, for instance, even though that Zabu is named after Zabuza from Naruto, which is one of the villains. Note that I'm not really a fan of Naruto, I just heard of the show. The reason why I put Slade Toroshi in is that he is said to be trained. This is the owner's character that I'm just quoting, that he is said to be trained by Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat, which would mean that he could have some electrical powers, maybe that he might have the powers that could actually freeze people and all that kind of stuff. Maybe the way that he enters and that, where, we can just have this key element power where just, have ice coming out of his hands and all that kind of stuff. Even though that Sergals are known to be one of the most dangerous species in the furry fandom, or one of the most dangerous species, especially because they can actually rip your eyes out or something like that, especially with those claws. Attempting to fight a Sergal is the one thing that you would not want to do. Trust me. Unless that you want to end up being ripped to shreds by one. But I could probably, have some martial arts moves on to Slade Toroshi and all that kind of stuff. And I was going to brag on, but I'm just going to move to just one more that I would think that should be on. Just for you Dutch Angel Dragon fans out there, Angel the Dutch Angel Dragon. The reason why I would mention Angel, which is also one of my friends' personas, is because that the owner of the character actually does karate in real life. I think that she is a black belt or something like that, or near a black belt. I'm not quite sure. And to add to that, I have seen some art of Angel in nice armor. So I probably would have some karate style moves with Angel, plus some. I don't know how Dutchies fight. Or what powers Dutchies are known to have, or mystical powers, because I don't really know much about the Dutch Angel Dragon lore. It's just something for me to look up in the future, and maybe might do a video. But maybe I could probably incorporate the powers of Dutchies, to her movesets in some of the karate style moves as well. Or this is just all the fighters that I pretty much could think that would be most suitable to be on this list. There could be more than that, but I don't want to make this list longer than it should have. I just want to leave it up to you to help me come up with what other furries would you think would be best suited in a furry fighting game. Maybe the ones that I haven't talked about. Maybe it could be some of your favorite furries. Maybe it could be like me, that has the charisma or the criteria that it would take to be on this roster of this said fighting game. Also, please, if you can, I would appreciate some feedback, especially on this video, and especially with the new setup that I just got so far. Also, if you do like this video, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And also, please, if you do love my content, make sure you give this channel a subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell icon so you can be one of the first person to know when my next video comes out. And on your devices, make sure you turn the notifications on. So it would, just to be certain that you'll be one of the first people to know when my video comes out. Also, the usual links to my Twitter and all that kind of stuff is down in the description below. And if you are considering buying yourself a t-shirt, there is a link to my artwork t-store. And if you are considering even donating to this channel, there is also a Ko-fi down below as well. If you want to friend me on PS4 or PSN, my gamer tag is Bruzo21. Even if you wanted to find me in Tamriel. I don't know whereabouts I'm going to be at the moment, but I'm probably all over the place mainly. And as always, I just want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. I hope this video is fun for you to watch as well as much as I do make it, or as making this and perhaps uploading it on YouTube. Also, to all my new subscribers out there, and to you even watching this, you know, the whole lot of it. Thank you so much. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. You are all amazing. I love you all. And as always, this is the most must-see and subscribe going here on YouTube. Bruzo Dragonius saying, I love you all. Make sure you all stay healthy out there, especially with this COVID-19. And as always, may His guide you all. Bye for now.